Okay, you told me you'd get it. Now, what are you getting? Call 412-831-1900, Olive Oil's Pizzeria. It was great. Thanks, Ryan, for not putting pepperoni on my pizza. Everybody else enjoyed that extra pepperoni on there, so we did that. Appreciate it. Want to shout out to Skeets, if you can get a close-up of that. He's a sponsor of What's on Our Mind.
Levine, if I might interject, though, we got to make you a better thing, Skeets. Seriously.
I like the artwork, man.
Let me tell you this much. As a gift, one of our guests gave us all the colors, that are a little soft, hickamajiggers.
Marcus?
So, yeah. They
That's
gave
the technical name for it.
So I picked out green because Smoking Jim says if you want the green, now I'll see Skeet's service station. So I did all that coloring myself. And just check it out. Can you give a close-up? Because I'm not even going to talk about this. Skeets is our man. He's our sponsor for What's on Our Mind on Mondays and any time we're on location. Thank you. Now, we got to give a shout-out to Johnny Angel. He's actually doing a show with Jessica Lee, Rick Purcell, Mark Strickland, Eric DeFade. They'll be at the James Street Gastro Pub and Speakeasy Saturday night, Smoking Jim. $10 to get in, 8 o'clock till 11 o'clock. Be a heck of a show with all those superstars there. If not, check out his Ginchy store, California Avenue. We got a couple more. We got to help BP TV. I'm all out of my tickets. Sold the last of them last night, so I got to restock. Get your $1 raffle ticket, win a $650 stainless steel Weber grill donated by EV Hardware. You can pick up tickets there. They need to start selling more. We got a bunch out there. That'll be a drawing live on June 8th for the council meeting. Mayor Jack Allen will pull the winner out. Then we got our designer bag. There's a video, designer bag bingo. $25, 10 games. All you ladies and gents that play the bingo, that's a great deal. You got a lot of designer bags and raffle prizes and all kind of other things. Check that out, and we'll have more of that later on, like another day. All right, we do What's on Our Mind. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. I got Chip the Prophet Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier, and Zach Brenner. We always start this segment out with Little Z, what's on your mind?
Well, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, I had a very egregious day all over the city of Pittsburgh. I tried to stay out of Monroeville as much as I could, but I couldn't help it. I'm so often drawn there. The great debate continues between Marcus Mariota or Jameis Winston in the 2015 NFL Draft, which is slated to take place in May. Jimbo Fisher, coach of Jameis Winston in college for the Florida State Seminoles, has come out this week and said that the media has killed the character of young Jameis Winston.
Hold on, I didn't hear you right.
The media has killed the character of young Jameis Winston.
Oh, okay.
Defamated, killed, same thing. Look it up in the dictionary, Smoking Jim. If I might interject, Coach Fisher, your star quarterback has done a magnificent job of slaughterhousing his own character, if I might.
I can't find slaughterhousing in the dictionary.
If I may. With alleged sexual assault, he stole crab legs from a local grocery store. He was yelling expletives on top of a lunch table in the lunchroom in front of all of his peers. So a couple of these things he got charged for, a couple of these things he didn't get charged for. So the great quarterback debate continues. A lot of people don't even know about Marcus Mariota because he's flying under the radar out west playing for Oregon. You don't hear about any of these expletives going on with the Duck. But that's a topic for another day. Hopefully Smoking Jim could give some insight from a scout's point of view on these two quarterbacks. I'm very excited that the blue and gold game is back for the University of Pittsburgh, Smoking Jim Frazier. It will be played on April 18th down at the Highmark Stadium. Smoking Jim, that's the home of the Riverhounds soccer team here in the city of Pittsburgh. And last but not least, I want to give a shout-out to none other than the Atlanta Falcons for getting caught for pumping in artificial crowd noise into your stadium during football games on Sunday, which would help to explain why you got blown out in Week 17 across the pond in London against the Carolina Panthers. Without the noise, No wins.
And
that's
you're
what's
gonna
on my
rhyme something there. I didn't know
tried.
what you were gonna rhyme.
I tried to win. And that's what's on my mind tonight, folks. Cheaters,
Thanks.
stealing crab legs, and the blue
Well,
and
you
gold
gotta
game
have-
is back.
You got to have a disclaimer on your cheating stuff, but we're not going to say that. So let's move on to Smoking Jim Frazier. What's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
Coming at you.
you got to see Levine. Thanks, buddy. What's on my mind is Lil Z talked about the draft, and I'll talk about the draft a little bit too. Talk about maybe some value picks. One value pick out there in the first round is probably going to be Nebraska's outside linebacker, Randy Gregory. I'm not high on this kid. He's a top 10. He was estimated to go in the top 10 pick in the first round in the NFL draft. He's 6'5", 235, runs a 4.6, 440, 24 reps on the bench press, and 37-inch vertical jump. Pretty decent athlete, not a great football player in my opinion. And basically, he failed a marijuana drug test at the combines, so they're projecting that he may be available when the Pittsburgh Steelers pick at 22.
That's just what we need.
And the Pittsburgh Steelers may select this guy. The Steelers got a history of having players who've smoked marijuana or participated in that. All the way back in 2008, Gary Russell, running back, was caught with 5 pounds of marijuana in his Columbus, Ohio apartment. Don't forget about Marvell Smith in 2002, was busted. Also, him and his wife with the marijuana in the hotel room. Mike Adams flunked a drug test in 2012 at the combine. Of course, Le'Veon Bell and LeGarrette Blount in 2014. And let's not forget about Waking and Bacon Santonio Holmes in 2009. And Ryan Clark had said that most of the Steeler players smoke marijuana. And one thing I know about the scouting department of any team is this would be a safe pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Randy Gregory, because nobody gets fired for selecting a guy who's a top 10 pick with the 22nd pick overall in the draft. And they're probably the only person on the planet that thinks Randy Gregory will be an NFL bust is Smoking Jim. And that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. I didn't know what you were leading up to. I thought you were going to give one of your recommendations for him.
Yeah, I recommend
You'll fit
it.
right in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Chip the Prophet Hayner, what's on your mind?
What's on my mind? Well, thank you, Alan. Quite a number of things are on my mind. We've got the advent of baseball season. Opening day starts on Sunday at 8 o'clock. Nationally televised game to get the season started. But, kind of just to make a brief remark about a couple of things that Zach touched on. The Falcons got fined and a draft choice taken away for cheating, pumping in crowd noise. And the Cleveland Browns got fined for texting down plays to the players on the sidelines. And was there any more teams that had worse records than they had? I mean, if you're going to cheat, at least win.
Just to interrupt you, why would you fine him for that? Who cares?
They pumped in crowd noise and they still lost.
Yeah, in either case, who
But,
cares?
actually, what I'd like to touch on, and it's kind of a subject that I touched on a little bit last week, and I've kind of stopped hearing this so much, is about the Pittsburgh Pirates, is you got to spend more money, you got to spend more money, you got to spend more money. Well, something happened in baseball actually this morning with one of the teams that has about the deepest pockets in Major League Baseball, the Chicago Cubs. Now, the Chicago Cubs have been pretty hapless for the last 5 or 6 years, and the Pirates have been beating up on them regularly, and then they went and hired Theo Epstein away from the Boston Red Sox as a general manager, which was a pretty good indicator that, future days are going to be brighter for the Chicago Cubs, because I think it's been since 1907 or 1908 since they've won a World Series, something like that.
Somewhere.
But who's counting? I know nobody in Chicago is. But, what they did is they have a prospect, third baseman. He's rookie. His name's Chris Bryant, and the kid was just smoking everybody in spring training. He led the major leagues with 9 home runs. So, of course, his agent, somebody that's known well to the Pirates, Scott Boras, decided that he would advise the Chicago Cubs to start him on their opening day roster. And the reason why Scott Boras would suggest this was because this gets him to free agency 1 year sooner, and the Cubs would lose control of him 1 year sooner than they would like. Now, if he starts out on the minor league roster, then they get an extra year of control over him because this kid seems like a surefire, can't-miss prospect. Well, you know, the baseball union has decided that they're going to complain about this as well. Now, here's something that my friend Al will tell you about collective bargaining. One of the things that was collectively bargained in the last labor contract was that, you know, if you started somebody out on the roster in the minor leagues in the spring, that year didn't count towards his year of eligibility. So that after this year, he still has 6 years that the Cubs have control of him. Mm-hmm. So, you know, they saying that there's no way that the Cubs should start him, but it's the Cubs' right to. And, you know, I think it's funny that I think agents and sports writers and even the players' union try to decide when somebody is ready to come up to the major leagues. Now, we had a perfect example of this last year with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Gregory Polanco, everybody said he should have started the season on the opening day roster, and everybody cried and complained and moaned and wanted him brought up, and we brought him up, and he was a little flash in the pan, and then he showed why he deserved to still stay in the minor leagues. He wasn't ready for prime time. Well, this Chris Bryant probably isn't ready for prime time. I haven't seen him play. I don't know what skills that he needs to develop, but I would be nice if the people that, you know, are evaluating talent, the field managers, the coaches, and the scouts were the ones that made the decisions instead of the sports writers, the agents, and the Major League Baseball's Players Union, and how they could complain about anything. You know, they got guaranteed contracts for their players. No other sport has guaranteed contracts. You know, so I think it's a great thing that the Cubs did this. They didn't succumb to pressure. They're doing what's best for the organization. Somewhat similar to what the Pirates have been doing. And, you know, this way you get your young talent, homegrown talent. It stays on your team for a longer period of time. And, you know, if you're going to spend the money on the young and upcoming talent. Don't spend the money on old, used-up veterans who you actually overpay for and then end up damaging the franchise for decades to come. But that's what's on my mind tonight.
Thanks, Chip. I wasn't going to talk about CBA, but since it got brought up, you know, I always have some insights.
I had a lobbyist softball.
The lawyer
Here's how simple it is.
should have went to law school.
I know, I was told that many times, but I try to give you the wisdom of Solomon. And a CBA, you know, it's biblical. We got Passover and Easter coming up, so
Yes, we do.
Happy
Good
Easter,
Friday
folks.
and the whole bit.
yes, so on a religious mode, with Solomon, you make a decision. On a CBA, you're the owner, I'm the players. I throw out 20 things, you throw out 20 things. And we compromise. If the players' union agreed to that contract, which they did, and the owners agreed to that contract, that's what you go by. And if you grieve that, it could be an unfair labor practice because you clearly state in the contract, the CBA, that it's 6 years, and the owners do have some control over their destiny. It's their business. Mm-hmm. So whether you're in a union like I was, or you're not, or you hate unions, that's why they got CBAs, because it's a compromise. You don't have to listen to Humble-Zach Brenner and what he believes. So that's my CBA moment. And anybody can call in at 412-831-3304, especially all those lawyers that work out of bathrooms in Munhall and Homestead and wherever the Brenner team, which I threw that towel out, Zach. I can't even put it up anymore because you said it was so bad. Hey, what's on my mind is Penguins.
Oh, no.
We got the regular season.
We left you something to talk about.
Finally. I was going through my list of stuff. I go, there's something there. Here's what happens. An egregious whiplash-type hit of Chris Letang. He's concussed. No penalty because it was away from the play. No fine. How does the NHL ever say they're trying to cut concussions? Chris Letang has a concussion day to day. We don't know when he'll be back. We do need him. There's no doubt about it. But what kind of shape will he be back in if he makes it before the end of the season? I was optimistic, like I said, but with so many injuries with the Penguins, they can't play the lines that they want to, and some of the lines are suspect. I'm still thinking they can get past the first round, but right now I don't know how. That's what's on my mind.
Hey, Alan, just to speak to and I saw the hit, and the hit was more, I don't know if it was a dirty play or not, but Letang lost his balance, banged his head off the boards, and
I saw it. Here's my thing. Did he have to make the hit? No.
No.
And that's what I base it on. He didn't have to hit him there. There was no, like you said, it didn't look like it was intentional except for one thing. He didn't have to make the hit. It didn't mean anything in the play, but it's a star player on the Penguins, and they know we're soft.
But I find that it kind of amusing that you say that they're trying to reduce the amount of concussions in the sport. Yet,
well, and what they say.
And what they say, but they let two guys stand there and pummel each other in the head with their fists. Explain the logic in that one to me.
I have one word. Canadian.
So much more entertaining than baseball.
Canadian. It's
they clear the benches in baseball and talk to each other in the middle. And then everybody goes and sits back down.
All right.
That has nothing to do with baseball.
We started a little open discussion before we go to our favorite segments.
Okay, we'll go to our
Since
segments.
we don't, have any going back on anything, we're not going to even bring up what we used to do. We're just moving forward. We got Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And I tell you what, 38-0 Kentucky was in the Donnybrook against Notre Dame. And I tell you what, Notre Dame gave them everything that they could handle over the weekend. And Notre Dame should have won that game. But if had Notre Dame beaten Kentucky, it still wouldn't have been the biggest upset in Notre Dame history. My good friend, local guy, former guard for Notre Dame, Dwight Clay, in 1974, UCLA is rated #1 in the nation, riding an 88-game winning streak. And
I saw it.
not a 38 game, an 88-game winning streak. And Dwight Clay nailed one from the corner, and they called it Al Levine, the talking machine. The shot heard around the world. And after talking and interviewing Dwight Clay for so many years, he says that wasn't even his most memorable moment. He said his most memorable moment was probably, and it never gets talked about, the year before, 1973. And they're at Marquette, rated #4 in the nation. Marquette had an 80-some game home court winning streak, and Dwight Clay hit a buzzer beater to knock off Marquette as well. And that's what's on my mind. We're Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
I have to give you a compliment.
Thank you, sir.
He's punchy.
No, he's beyond that. This is the furthest fact that you've gone in basketball
This year.
that I know. And on the history of our show, you could check out all these Tuesday night shows dating back to October 11, 2011. Please watch us on YouTube. We're trying to boost up those YouTube likes and watches and views. So and it'll help Zach Brenner out when he talks on Monday nights. So please help him out. Chip, we got Chip's trivia time right now.
Yeah, okay. And my trivia time is going to coincide with the Final Four, which we've got coming up this weekend. And, I'm pulling for the Kentucky Wildcats to be the first team since 1976. Indiana Hoosiers, Bobby Knight's team, was undefeated. Hasn't been an undefeated champion since. So Calipari's crew set up to do it, 38-0. They've got to win 2 more. Oh, by the way, was that Al McGuire's Marquette team that he beat?
Sir.
Okay,
Yes,
that's
I
what I
loved
was
Marquette
remembering.
back then.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
But to give you some trivia regarding past Final Fours, I've come across some that I found somewhat interesting for this evening. Who holds the record for the most points scored in one tournament in the 20th century? Happened in 1989. Michigan Wolverines' Glenn Rice scored 184 points in 6 games, including 27 three-pointers. He ironically only made 7 free throws in the entire tournament.
Really?
The fewest tournament points leader since the tournament was expanded to 64 teams. Wow. 1987 features the dramatic Keith Smart shot that gave Indiana the win over Syracuse in the final seconds. Indiana's Steve Alford had 138 points in the tournament. What Syracuse player also tied Alford for the tournament high in points? Another household name, Ronnie Cycli. And Ronnie Cycli was playing on the team with Derek Coleman as the star. So he carved his name into the record books. 4 Duke players were drafted in the NBA in 1999, all of which were drafted in the first round. The reason I bring this up, because I think the entire Kentucky basketball team, and I mean all 12, could end up being drafted in the first round of the NBA draft this year. But
If they all go, they have to go, though.
the players drafted were Elton Brand, Trajan Langdon, Corey Maggette, and what was the other player's name? I never heard of him before either. His name was William Avery. No other time in history has college team had 4 players drafted in the first round of the NBA draft. Duke has such a strong recruiting staff that reloading after a huge loss of talent is not too difficult. The 1996 Final Four, and I bring this one up because this one has a connection to this year's Final Four. In 1996, the Final Four accounted for 7 players drafted into the NBA that year. Kentucky, Syracuse, Mississippi State, and what other school made up the Final Four? This school was later stripped of its Final Four berth due to a violation of NCAA rules. The University of Massachusetts. Marcus Camby, Tony Delk, Antoine Walker, Dante Jones, Eric Dampier, and John Wallace were the players drafted. UMass was later stripped of its Final Four berth due to a rules violation by Marcus Camby and UMass. And the coach of that team would have been John Calipari. Will history repeat itself?
Time will tell.
In 2000, Michigan State defeated Florida for their first title since 1979. And a certain Irving Magic Johnson took the Michigan State Spartans over the Indiana State team led by
Larry Bird.
There you go. Okay, North Carolina was a member of the Final Four. What was the other team? And that was Wisconsin that year. So Wisconsin and Michigan State. Could there be a rematch this year? Who knows? You know, Wisconsin's got their hands full with Kentucky. We'll see what happens Saturday night.
Too white.
What team did UCLA defeat for the 1995 NCAA title? That would have been the University of Arkansas, coached by Nolan Richardson. And what was Nolan Richardson's Razorbacks team's claim to fame? Do you remember? 40 Minutes of Hell.
Okay.
Okay. What team was in the Final Four 7 times in 9 years from 1986 to 1994?
Pitt. No.
UNLV.
Duke. Duke's reign included 7 Final Four appearances, 4 title games, 2 championships in a 9-year span. You know, the only other team that did better than that would have been the UCLA team that won 10 titles in 12 years, 7 consecutively. And also want to give a little shout out to a dearly departed college basketball coach who recently passed away, Jerry the Tarkanian. His UNLV team is the only team to score 100 points in an NCAA title game in the 1990s. The Running Rebels beat Duke by 30 points in the 1990 final. But that's my trivia for this week, and let's see what history is going to be written Saturday night and Monday.
And what time's the game on Monday? Did they announce that yet? Or
I believe
Midnight.
tip-off will probably be about shortly after 9 o'clock. Or, you know, or
that's what I
thereabout.
thought, but I didn't see anything. announced.
I haven't seen anything either, but I'm just going by what
When's
they
the
usually do.
women's final?
The women's finals will probably
This
be next week sometime because the women's Final Four, what's his name? Gino Ariama has taken the Connecticut back to the Final Four. Again, he will be going for his 10th national championship this
And the
year.
girl for Hopewell, Kimborough, is leading scorer for Maryland, and she's only a sophomore.
And you know, the ironic thing about the women's Final Four, and I know you're a big women's basketball fan, Jim,
Huge.
Yeah, I love it.
is
Huge.
every team that made it to the Final Four was the number 1 seed this year.
Really?
That does not happen very often.
Wow.
We got 3 number 1 seeds in the NCAA men's tournament. The only lowest ranked team is Michigan State. They were a number 7 seed.
I had them going to Final Four.
Yeah. Did you have a bracket? I didn't see you with any brackets.
Yeah, he's going to fill it out after the.
He fills it out after every game.
He fills it out after the
Game
game
by
on Monday. After the game on Monday.
We're trying to educate
Baby.
people on being honest and don't cheat.
Baby.
We got a known gambler who fills in the blank. Smoking Jim, I cut out all the brackets. Kentucky's been my pick from the beginning.
Yeah.
No BS. All right?
Yeah, I'm pulling it for another undefeated champion this year.
Me too. We'll see. It'd be great to see Kentucky and Duke. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, I would like to see that too. That's what I had.
Did you?
Yeah.
What happened to Arizona?
I had Arizona getting beat in the Final Four.
Okay, because we didn't see your bracket. And I heard that the 2 teams were in the same bracket. So I don't know how you get
You gotta differentiate the difference between heavy money and imaginary money.
How about no money?
Fiction and fact.
On the money.
Smoking Jim's.
How about Monopoly money?
Wallet. His wallet.
What's in your wallet?
Nothing. Nothing and no bets. All right, that was our little commercial. Now we got Z time.
Which Capital One would cut the check, Levine?
That's not happening. They don't know about us yet. Why don't you give a little promo for them? Tell them to watch YouTube. This show will be up on YouTube.
Please, folks, please. John the Tiger, George the Ghost, Devin Shea. Guys, can we... I know you guys are already here and you've already seen it once, but can we get some views? Levine's beating me up and saying that nobody watches the Tuesday night
Hold it,
program.
wait. I have to even tell you another mind-blowing thing. All the guys that are aforementioned, that you just mentioned, have never watched the show. They're not even watching it right now.
They're probably watching
I'm calling into the control room, and Devin's not even giving me false statistics and info. So there's a Houston, we have a problem. The Tiger is not watching the show. Okay, he's a good cameraman, but he's actually not watching the show.
I think if you actually ask John the Tiger, a lot of his sports knowledge...
All right, what did
comes
Zach
from-
do on his opening? What's on your mind?
He's shot is limited.
He's not
Always an excuse. It's Z time. Sorry, folks. He said he has to take the Fifth Amendment, and all of you constitutional lawyers out there know what that means. Zach?
Well, apparently, folks, the arms are warmed up, the bats are ready to go, they're
He's gonna
getting ready to
talk
head
baseball.
back up north, and the Buccos are ready to go. So I'm excited as anybody at this table. I know Smoking Jim, you're ecstatic to kick off this upcoming baseball season. I've never been more jazzed up and pumped up, Levine, for the upcoming baseball season. I'm so excited for the Pirates to come back to PNC Park and play some baseball. Hopefully, Smoking Jim will sit through 9 innings. This
That's why
upcoming
we're going
season.
to a game. Chip didn't extend that invite anymore.
Well,
Because
he's
if you only
definitely
stay
not
for
going.
5 innings,
3.
3. See? I was trying to make him seem not so bad there. I have one question for you, Zach.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Why am I excited about the Pirates? Well, I'm going to tell you why, Levine. Because I was watching ESPN one day, flipping through in the barbershop, and Buster Olney said that the Pirates are going to the World Series and they're going to play against the Seattle
You
Mariners.
heard that here first.
And I got so
You're
fired
giving
up.
us some fiction
I got
and
so
fact.
pumped up. And I was just so proud, and it just resonated like so much in my body. And I was so fired
Where's that
up about the
dictionary?
Pirates that I just couldn't wait. And I purchased a 3-game plan. So me and Smokey Jim Frazier might be going.
Did you hear a 3-game
Might be
plan?
going.
3-game. Folks, this is our fiction from Z Time. None of the previous was even meant to be truthful.
And they don't kick off the baseball season. That's a football term.
3K plan.
Yeah, but it's a partial plan. 3 innings, 3 games.
Yeah, with this one game, three
They're
tickets,
splitting.
3 innings at a
Count
time.
me out of that.
It's conditional on you have to sit through at least the 7th inning stretch. So you got to hear "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" and you got to sing it, like Harry Carey, Smoking Jim. Harry Carey was a great announcer from the Chicago Cubs on WGN in Chicago. Chip, if you might know.
Chip
Harry
doesn't know
Carey?
that one. He's Googling it right now because he goes, who? Harry Carey, the classic, the legend. And he never used to drink much either. So.
And the last thing,
Oh, you were still going?
as we wind down the greatest segment on earth. I'm just kidding, Levine. It's sarcasm, buddy. Sarcasm.
I don't get it because you always seem humble to me. I can't see you now with the table lineup, but you look like a humble man.
I just want to touch briefly, and I'm sure we'll segue into this on the Pittsburgh Penguins. For me, the biggest mistake Ray Shero ever made with this hockey club was when he locked up a majority of our salary cap money into 4 players. You carry 18 players on the bench, Smoking Jim, and your 4 players are accounting for the majority of your salary cap. So think about this. Even if I drew you a pie, if I drew you a circle, like a pizza, Smoking Jim, general studies, and let's just say that much of the pie, like this whole part right here, that's your 4 players right there. That's your 3 forwards and your goalie. Well, a defenseman, 2 forwards, a defenseman, and a goalie account for 3/4 of your salary cap number. How do you expect to compete in the league when you have to fill in? You still have 2 more lines to fill in. You still have 3 more sets of defensemen, and you have 4 players that are locked up for a majority of your cap number.
But they've been competing.
They've been competing, Smoking Jim, but for the amount of hype and the amount of talent that's accrued, you have 2 of the top 5 best players in the world. You should be getting a lot more. That we should have at least another Stanley Cup. We should be having more deeper playoff runs. I shouldn't be talking about right now one and done. When you have that kind of talent and that kind of firepower and the best players on the earth, supposedly, wink, wink, that you should have more.
Hey, we're going to do our Penguin discussion right at the end of Z time. So let's do it.
So wait, could I take this as that you are inferring that spending all your money isn't the smartest thing to do with your sports franchise?
Whoa. Sounds like a trap.
With the exception.
Sounds like a trap.
With the exception of what's going on Federal Street in the north on the North Shore.
Football. How did I guess?
Yeah, I know.
But hey, listen, Chip.
They'll kick off in September.
We'll get to the Buccos here in a second. Right now, we're talking about the Penguins and their lack of toughness and ferocity, as you alluded to. They're soft. They don't really have anybody that'll knock your teeth out if you mess with our top 2 players. So I don't know how deep of a run they're going to make it. What's going to all hinge on is how the last couple weeks of the season play out, and the seedings and who we get is definitely going to affect it. Because if we get one of the bottom teams that we have trouble with, like the Islanders or the Flyers, we're in trouble. If we get Washington, if we get the Capitals out the gate, I think we could be one and done, Levine.
Yeah, I'm hopeful not.
He's getting a message about
the Penguins. The Penguins have gotten themselves into a little bit of a pickle, and they have shown some life in the last couple of games. But one of the things that they did on Sunday night, which has been a problem that they've had time and time again this year, is that they get an early lead, and they give up the lead. And the one thing about hockey that I absolutely can't stand is the shootout to determine a win. I just think that's like having a home run derby.
It's the
contest.
regular season, though.
I think it's crap. I think they should just play overtime and, you know what, play sudden death.
They do the same thing in soccer, too, Chip.
Yeah, that's
paint drying.
Yeah, really. I mean, the only time I watch soccer games every 4 years when the World Cup's played, and otherwise it doesn't exist.
Missing. You guys don't know what you're missing.
I do. I tried to watch the World Cup this year, and I told you, I went out and painted.
Well, me and you went to the South Side. We watched a little soccer that day.
Yeah, we did.
The Riverhounds.
Whatever the restaurant that was.
Piper's Pub.
Yeah.
Not to drop a name. Speaking of that, I'm done with Penguin talk. Whatever Z-Time covered, thank you very much. Didn't get the thank you. We do our on location right now. We were at the Smokehouse Bar and Grill. We had one of our better shows. We had the whole boxing team of Ray Schaefer Boxing Association and Jose Carabello and his son, and you had Cole Davis, Jane Quinlan, Derek, I forget his last name, Matt Kearns, and you just had a great bunch. Eric Sindor, he was there. So it was just great to have them out there and giving us updates on what they do. And we found out Jose has the most women boxers in the East Coast of the United States.
Yes, sir.
So that's pretty good. Some have one fight, and he has others coming up too. So we got that. Then we had the legendary Dan Bogan, our Hall of Famer, Sam Schmidl, who created that song On the Line for Pittsburgh Sportsline. He's also donating the money. It's 99 cents for the song. Half of it goes to our veterans. So thanks, Sam, for doing something good for us and the veterans of our country. So we appreciate that. We also had Scott Benton from Gladiators of the Cage. He showed up. And we had Hollywood Randy, and he was there. And he loved the ribs so much that he took some home. He took a whole rack of ribs home. They were that good. And we just had a lot of fun last night, a lot of good guests. And this Monday coming up, since we moved the show from Smokehouse from this Monday on the 6th, we're not going to have a show on Monday since we only cover 4 weeks out of each month. Believe it or not, 4 times a year. There's 5 weeks in a month. So I was talking to Jose Carabella, the Puerto Rican prince, and he said, what would you guys think about doing a show at my gym on that 5th week in June? So we're going to try to work out the details, so stay tuned for that. There may be a special Pittsburgh Sportsline Ray Schaefer Boxing Association combination where we do a show and do boxing, and you get to see behind the scenes with some of the boxers there. So it'll be something different if we can get it to work out, if everybody's in town at the time. From Jose, who's a budding movie star and consultant now. He's traveling out to California a lot. So a lot of the guys from the movie Southpaw, which will be coming out, the trailers look great, like they've said. So we'll see that. That's what's on location. 2 weeks from now, we'll be at Duke's Rib House and Grill. We got some great guests coming in for that. I'm confirming more as we speak. You know, we got a couple confirmations. They have to wait. So that's our on location. Thanks for everybody for watching. Thanks for all the views on YouTube, since there's a delay on putting the show up till Wednesday, because it seems like we consistently average between 100, this is actual views of our YouTube shows, on Monday. It's up to 400, so thank you for that. And if you'd please watch in your spare time the Tuesday night show, which will alternate on Thursday and Saturday. So look forward to that on TV, but watch YouTube.
Yes.
All right,
yes.
Zach, there you go. I can't promote it any better than that. Let's do Bucko talk, because season's starting Sunday night.
Season's starting, and the Pirates' bats are hot. Yesterday they pummeled the Phillies 18-4, hit 6 home runs. Pedro Alvarez hit a grand slam and a 2-run homer.
Yeah.
He's getting himself together. Today they put a tattooing on David Price, Mr. All-World, one of the best in the league. On his last assignment before starting on opening day, he got belted for 7 runs. Francisco Cervelli hit a 3-run homer. He's now hit his 4th home run for the spring. And Pirates have made a decision on the starting 5. The starting 5 pitchers will be Francisco Liriano, Garrett Cole, A.J. Burnett. Jeff Locke will be the 4th starter, and Charlie Morton will be number 5. Van Worley and Jeff Locke battled tooth and nail, and it really came down to splitting hairs to determine who was going to be the starter. And I think what it basically boiled down to is that Van Worley has experience coming out of the bullpen, where Jeff Locke has pitched his entire career as a starting pitcher. So
I like the Vanimal out of the bullpen. Because that inning or 2 that he gives you, it's everything he got.
Well, and I'll tell you another thing. Before the end of the season, and I bet you before we even get to June, we'll see him starting. One thing that you never see across any major league team is the same starting 5 in April that you see in September. So all the Pirates are
on that point. Can Morton last or be consistent for more than a couple games? That's one of the things that could bring Worley right out of the bullpen for a starter.
What do you think, Smoking Jim?
Charlie Morton's biggest drawback is he'll pitch 5 innings of great baseball, and then he has that one inning where he just blows up. He'll hit somebody, he'll walk a runner, and then the next thing you know, ball will get ridden out. That will be the thing to watch this year. Charlie is healthy. Some of the problems he's been having this spring is with his sinker ball sinking. When Charlie Morton's an effective pitcher, he's throwing his sinker ball. He's getting a lot of ground ball outs. Now, he started doing that in his last couple of starts. He was getting hit pretty hard earlier, but he was working on adjustments to his mechanics.
Well, Liriano got the same problem.
No, he does not. Actually, Liriano.
No, that was no fiction, in fact, no wisdom, no nothing. That was like Tourette's syndrome.
What is Francisco Liriano's
That was it.
out pitch?
Well, I'll tell you this about him.
What's his in pitch?
I'll tell you this about him. There's no way that Cole, at this point in his career, should not be getting the ball on opening day. That's a problem right there. That lineup that you named got about 80 losses to it.
Did you say 80?
Yeah,
that pitcher's
this is the same thing he said last year and the year before. So, banking on that.
Give him some Kool-Aid, Chip. He needs some of that.
But,
Well, here's the other thing with what he's saying there. If I'm a manager, Cole's your stud. He's going to be doing well. This fires him up. That guy plays on emotion. If he's not starting the opener, I like him. I can't believe how you operate with people, and you're saying you don't want a young kid all fired up.
Well,
that's what you want.
But see, what Jim doesn't take into account, because he doesn't look into the future, by pitching Liriano on Monday against the Reds, Garrett Cole's next scheduled start would be the home opener here in Pittsburgh.
What would you rather start if you're a young man?
I would rather get the ball opening day.
Opening day here in Pittsburgh.
Opening day is the best pitcher's pitch on the first day.
We have a great matchup with Liriano and Cueto going on Monday. That'll be a great matchup. And you know
They
what?
will be
Telemundo, I'll watch it.
Frankie Liriano has earned that position, and if you paid attention to the team, you would know.
Oh, my goodness. He was so slumping last year.
No, actually, the second half of the season, Jim.
Second half?
He was not.
Chip's
But
not
you know
even
what,
debunking
Chip?
anything.
You know what, Chip? They wouldn't have been in the position they were in had they played better ball in April and May and not waited until after June to start to come on and pick up. They would have been better.
And they did start slow last year, and where their biggest downfall was last year was their record against division foes. And the teams that they need to improve their record against is Milwaukee. Milwaukee spanked us around last year. We had a losing record against them. We had a losing record against the Cardinals, which the year before we had a winning record against. So,
how's Hercules going to do this year? Cut his hair and may affect his play.
Hercules?
He was actually a good
McCutcheon.
player before his dreadlocks.
I don't remember them days.
Well, you didn't even know he existed.
I can't even believe he got his hair cut.
Do you think it'll help in the hot sun though? He'll be lighter. He'll be cooler.
Oh, I think he'll be a little faster.
He'll be a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Well, when we get to the wrapping up the baseball section, I'm going to go ahead and make my picks for where I feel that the teams are going to end up this year.
Whoa, you're going to do it right now before the
In the
season.
major leagues. Oh, yeah, I don't wait until after the season. What do you think my name is, Jim Frazier?
Right.
Oh!
Okay, now, the division winners in the American League. I've taken the Orioles to win the East, Los Angeles Angels to win the West, the Detroit Tigers to win the Central Division. The two wild card teams, I'm picking Kansas City to get another wild card berth, and the Seattle Mariners to take the last wild card position. National League, Washington Nationals will take the East. The Dodgers will take the West. The Pirates will take the Central.
Wild card.
Wild cards would be the Cardinals and the Miami Marlins this year.
Wow.
I get my baseball knowledge from Stephanie. She always was the fantasy baseball brother. Hi, Steph.
But those are my picks for the winners this year. And the Pirates right now, they're going into the season with one of the strongest lineups that they've had. Used to be, we'd look down their lineup, and you'd look, there's at least 3 or 4 outs in there, and they're pretty strong top to bottom. Gregory Polanco started to get his timing back, has been hitting the ball real well.
They may sign him to a contract.
They're attempting to. Last year they tried to sign him to a 7-year contract. And what they did was it was going to be a 4-year deal with 3 option years for the team, and they were only going to guarantee $25 million.
Is that North Korean?
No,
is that Korean playing? Is he coming up north? I mean,
Oh, he didn't finish Polanco.
Can I finish without being interrupted?
we keep talking about Polanco.
So
just started
this
on
year
Polanco.
they're making an attempt to sign him now, which makes perfect sense. Because if you're going to sign somebody to a long-term contract, why not be one of your young up-and-coming stars instead of wasting money on washed-up veterans, which is what happened with the previous Pirates regime, which is not happening now. Now, Gong, who Zach alluded to, his bat started getting hot in the last week. He struggled. He got extra base hits today. He hit a triple yesterday. Hit a home run the day before. So he's going to be a good backup. Somebody to spell Jordy Mercer. But you know, the whole key to the Pirates this year is they started out and they had a horrible April last year. And, you know, they need to come out of the gates fast, and they need to do well against their division. You know, I tell you what, the National League Central Division, it's going to be one of the toughest divisions in baseball again this year. You know, you've got the Cardinals are always strong. The Pirates are going to be strong this year. The Cubs are going to be much improved. They were laughing stock the last few years. They're probably a year or two away from contending. And the Brewers are going to be there. I don't think that the Brewers are going to contend for the title after the way they collapsed last year. I think they've got a weaker team now than they did last year. And the Cincinnati Reds, you know, can't be counted out. You know, they've always given us fits. But, you know, Cincinnati took a couple of steps back. But still, it's a strong division.
Well, I tell you who's going to have a great season, another outfielder out there.
Starling Martay?
Yeah,
I actually feel that Starling Martay will have his breakout year. He will be in the All-Star game.
You two are in agreement on that.
I'm predicting 20 home runs and 50 stolen bases for the kid.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, and if he can, his batting average.
Come on, guys. Come on,
his
baseball.
batting average in spring training was 347.
Home runs and stolen bases. Wouldn't it be home runs and RBIs?
He didn't know.
Who would just
He didn't know, but the stolen bases are pretty nice.
But the thing about
He's
it,
not
Zach,
going to do that.
he's the fastest guy on the team.
Yeah. So Smoking Jim was going with the speed and no knowledge.
I was on it, right?
So he went off the track.
Well,
normally you'd say maybe he gets 48 RBIs with those 20 home runs.
Candy, the table's buckling over here. Take my Pepsi off.
It must have been all those wings.
Jim is timing his 40-yard dash, but, you know, 40 yards.
Jim Frazier, did you ever run the 40-yard dash in under 5?
He wasn't always this big. He was a young Urkel-looking dude.
Can you answer the question, CBA?
Did you have glasses? Did you have glasses and suspenders?
He can't tell anything about history.
Did you ever?
Last night we had one of the best segments, Chip. He's naming how old all these other people were, so I waited till after that was done. And I said, did you notice how he talked about old boxers, old players? And he didn't mention his age.
It's a mystery to us all.
Well, I had 4.3 speed at one time.
4.3 speed?
Tell him what you did in the 220.
Well, I was a track All-American.
Wow. That's
back
humble.
in the day.
That's humble. I mean, that's gracious and that's
University of Gateway?
Well, no, he doesn't like giving out any information because we don't know what his government name really is. That's not humble.
It turned out he was running against
And you know what? If
kids.
you've ever tried to look up any of Gateway's records,
medals.
they're all they're very hard to find.
They're
They've all been
sketchy.
given back. They're all given back.
They're very hard to find.
Coach Calipari was one of our coaches.
Well, I just want to know. You know what? They had to do redistricting. So a lot of those apartment complexes, weren't in Monroeville anymore.
Yep.
So if your players don't live where the school district is, you're not there.
And then became the rise of Woodland Hills, Penn Hills.
Yeah. And that's our comedic section there. I hope you don't want to learn any of this stuff because sorry about that, folks. I appreciate you staying with us on this. We did try to provide you with some knowledge and some interesting content. I was waiting for Devin Shea. No information on
No
it.
hockey game tonight. Tomorrow night, the Penguins got the Flyers. The team that always seems to get under the Penguins' skin.
Especially at the end of the year.
The team that has written the recipe on how to beat the Penguins. And you can cheap shot them and they'll retaliate and you'll knock them off their game. But hopefully the Penguins can keep their heads about themselves. They're only skating 5 defensemen now because of the salary cap mess that they're in. It'll be interesting to see what they do. They're going to skate an extra forward and go with 5 defensemen while Chris Letang's out. And Chris Letang has multiple concussions. Who knows when he's going to be ready
Plus,
to play
what
again.
about the heart? You never know how that affects you in whiplash.
We shall see. He's a day-to-day kind of thing. Ehrhoft is out indefinitely as well. He's been concussed several times this year. They got their work cut out for them.
No doubt about it. All right, what other subject didn't we cover here? Anybody have a topic they want to get on the table here? Steelers,
Dead air.
roller hockey,
Roller hockey.
derby. That copy.
Hey, real quick, they changed as I alluded to earlier in January, the NASCAR qualifying rules at the super speedways. That's Talladega
No.
and Daytona, where they were making all the cars all the cars qualify on the track at the same time in group qualifying where they could wreck and potentially take themselves out
Does
before they
anybody
even
care?
get to race?
Not
They
until the
changed
race.
it.
And
They
what do
changed
they
it.
do now?
Sync back to single car, one car at a time, one time lap,
That makes sense.
instead of having
What took
all
them
the
so
cars.
long?
Well, there was problems. The accidents were happening. It was costing.
No, I mean, why didn't they do that sooner?
Accidents happening qualifying. Well, one car's going around the track.
No, with all of them on
No,
the track.
that was the change. They had all the cars. They had group qualifying. They had all the cars out there qualifying. Running laps and for speed. And there was accidents.
I like the
happening.
NASCAR races, not the
Hey, Danica
qualifying or
Patrick
anything
had a
else.
top 10 finish, her 5th one of her career this past weekend.
Yeah,
And that makes her the all-time best
Winningest.
finishing woman ever in NASCAR.
Well, they didn't let
It
women
does.
in there for years, so we all know that. That'll be another subject. What about NBA? Anybody like NBA this year?
I watched the NBA on the regular. It gets better. It gets better.
We're on a,
Mumble, mumble, mumble.
It gets better for the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what
obviously. It
season I'm
picks up,
watching.
Correct. It picks
Yeah.
up, but
you tried to get me to watch a couple games. You even said to pick a team for you. I go, I haven't watched an NBA game all the way
Look,
through.
if I call out Levine one night and say, who you like? Who you like between these
Atlanta.
Well, his favorite player is Zach LaVine.
Yeah, he won the dunk contest.
I thought he was white.
He's a relative. He's a relative. Come on,
Like
man.
a white guy won the slam dunk.
Come on. He did a great job
Hey,
in
Spud
that.
Webb won, why not?
Well, Zach was much taller than him.
You know what else I'm looking forward to? I'm looking forward to the Golden Gloves on April 10th. I believe it's at the Doubletree in Monroeville. So that won't be far for Smoking Jim. So you could almost guarantee he's going to appear at that.
He already has a room booked. That's a guarantee.
Under an alias.
Well,
Under an alias.
no, I heard it's under his real government
Jimmy.
name.
Jimmy Shoelaces.
Jameson John Frazier. That's his real name. I Googled it. Jameson John
There
Frazier.
you go.
JJ.
But the Golden Gloves final should be real exciting this year. It's going to be so much competition, especially in that 141-pound weight class. And my recommendation would be for everybody that's currently in 141 to either move down or move up in 2016 because Dynamite, Charlie Wright, little kid that's 15 years old that had a knockout in the Donnybrook, I tell you what, this guy is a beast. And
If you talk to him,
yeah, he's like a little kid.
Yeah, he is.
But I tell you what,
He's 13 years old.
even in amateur boxing, politics still plays a role in amateur boxing as far as the matchmaking goes and stuff like that. Because you know what has been happening, Levine?
What?
Fights get put together. These guys don't always fight in the toughest fights as they advance to the Golden Gloves. Then what happens is you got to go over to Philadelphia and fight some real fighters, some real scrappy guys. When we get ourselves handed to, we get beat up over in Philadelphia a lot. So I think we only had one victory last year over on the other side of the state when we went out.
Good point.
We went out to Philly. So me personally, I would like to see the Golden Gloves become more organized. And there actually be like, how the March Madness actual bracket, and it all be, figured out and predetermined instead
How
of
are you
just
going to do that, though?
mixing and matching. Everybody, there's a deadline to enter down at Jimmy Savetic's Third Avenue Gym. So everybody that shows up to enter, you're all in their qualifications for your weight, and you could be blind drawn for seating or whatever, and just do it like so that way you know who's
Yeah, but
fighting,
what
when
happens?
they're fighting.
What happens with people getting sick and not fighting anybody?
But
So you just say you're holding a
The
bracket.
next person up.
Whoever wins that other one, then they fight them. So 1 week they may not fight. Would they fight each week? Because
That
sometimes they drop out that night. That's why I thought about that too. But we've seen so many cancellations the day of the fight, an hour
Good true.
right then and
Good
there.
point.
So then what happens?
Good
That
point.
would be my issue on it. Because I want my guy to fight.
But you have so many weeks though where we
Well,
would be
no,
able to
they don't show up.
We'd be able to slip that in,
I
though,
don't
on
understand.
another
Yeah,
card.
like what kind of repercussions is there if you don't, bow out of a fight the day of the fight? I mean,
None. None.
Well, that's something wrong with that system right there.
But then you're dealing with kids, and you're
Right.
getting sick and things
You're
like
dealing
that.
with
It's
adults,
amateurs. Yeah, but you got amateurs. I don't know how you do it, Zach, because I think they should. They should have something more, like a
They should-
bracket.
well,
It
then,
just
you know,
seems to me
then they should have.
You never know who's fighting. You never know who's truly in it. One week you go for 3 straight fights, and then you see some guy come out of nowhere. And where's he been? How come he didn't fight on the other 3 cards? Oh, so and so.
So what would happen if, say, let's at 140 pounds, okay, you've got the 2 kids that are scheduled to fight, and then if either one of them, you have 2 or 3 backups that they, so that they still fight somebody.
No, that would be the theory of it, but then what if they show up? Then when do those guys fight? What night? Because they wouldn't be able to fight on that card. See, that's why you got to look
You
at
have
it.
to look at it. It's some kind
It
of
has
draw.
to be
like
like
they
a
show up
feeder
and it's the luck of the draw.
I think it has to be like you have fights on a Friday, Saturday night for Golden Gloves, and then as you
That's
get
how
down,
it used to be, yeah.
right.
Like
To me, as you narrow it, because I thought I remembered from the 70s and 80s that it might be on 2 nights in a week, and that way it funnels down to as you get close to where the championships
Well, I tell
are.
you who we know is fighting. The Pittsburgh Bull is going to be fighting in the championship,
Mike
and we're going to look forward to that.
he was on our show. We're going to have him back. He was just a great guest.
Again, the politics of it, though. We've already gone through 3 cards for the Golden Gloves.
Yeah.
Has Mike Manna fought on any of
He
the
had a
3?
black eye, so he couldn't
Have
fight.
any of them fought? Has he fought on any of the 3 current? So then, like I said, you
just
just
shows
get like
up,
pushed
yeah,
through
right, to the
because of your name or
championship,
whatever
yeah.
on this side,
Right.
and that's good. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But what happens, like I said, is then the credibility goes out the window when we go over to Philly and we get wiped out by those guys over there.
Well, you started a great discussion, and Philly has some tough fighters. And I don't know how we solve 2 of those serious problems, but you do need to get some organization on how you get the kids to fight instead of sitting out 2 fights and then fighting for a championship or 3 fights. Hey, thanks for watching our show. Appreciate it. Thanks, Zach Brenner, Smoking Jim Frazier, Chip the Prophet Hayner, Tiger the Kiger. You were on your A game. Didn't mean any disrespect there, but I know you guys don't watch the show. Devin Shea, he said there wasn't even any content on the show. Never mind. He's watching curling. Thanks again. Be safe out there. Stay Joey strong.